It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Good morning. The gang is all here. It's Winter Olympic Wednesday. I know Dennis Philippi is going to weigh in on that. My goodness, it is so much fun to watch the quad god. Ilya Malinin, if you don't know who he is, by the end of these games, over the next 10 years, he's going to become a staple in sport. I think kind of the way Michael Phelps did in swimming. This guy is that good. He is that dominating. He's won like 14 straight competitions, and he's in good shape already. Michaela Schifrin has the Olympic blues again. My goodness. You know that she's the greatest slalom skier of all time. She's won more world championships, more World Cup slalom races, really total races, more than anybody by far, better than Lindsey Vonn. And yet, although when she was 18, the first Olympic Games, she was good. Last Olympic Games, didn't get a medal. Kind of couldn't find her form, couldn't find her rhythm. Same thing happened yesterday. The one of the stars of this game, Breezy Johnson, I think that, can you find, Landon Schmidt, can you think of a better name for a downhill ski racer than Breezy?
No, I'm not even going to try.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So Breezy, they have this new thing. Used to be one person did the downhill and the slalom together. Now they break it up. So you got your great downhiller and your great slalom skier. You think you're in pretty good shape to win the gold. Breezy Johnson, she breezes on down. She's in first place. They're just a lock. The greatest slalom skier in the history of international ski racing is up. She finished 15th. She finished. Other times she's crashed, like in the last Olympic Games. This time didn't crash. No one can figure this out. There's got to be a mental block for Olympics with this woman. She's won 3 of the 4 World Cup races already this year leading up to the Olympic Games. And in the 4th one, she was second. 15th, I think she was in this. Oh, my. Anyway, feel bad for her. How about the USA women? Oh, my gosh. The USA women playing their rivals, the Canadians who won the Olympic gold in the last Olympic Games. You got to figure this one's going to be rough and tough, that they don't like each other. They self-proclaim that they don't care for one another at all. And the U.S. team looks like they're unbeatable. They look like the Russians in 1980. So that's what worries me. And I'm glad their coach said something. They win their group. Now they start the medal round. They have the quarterfinals against Italy. That's the hometown deal. So that worries me a little bit. And I like what the coach said. He goes, everybody thinks if you climb Mount Everest, once you're at the top, it's over. You got to get down. You got to concentrate to get down. It ain't easy getting down. It's not going to be easy because now you're at the top. You beat the heck out of your rival, but you got to win 3 more games to win the gold. You got to get down. I hope they don't get too cocky. Chloe Kim's a great story. She is sitting in first in the prelims of that's the half-pipe snowboard. So, that's on a snowboard, not on skis. And you go with this little half-pipe thing. It looks like a little tunnel, but it's going downhill. And you go up and you spin around on one side. Then you come down on the other and you spin around again. And you got to get air and flips and all that stuff. And she's the best. She said she's better at snowboarding than she is at walking. And maybe so. She's won 3 straight golds. If she wins this, she'd be the first woman to do that. She's only 25. She could do 2 more Olympic Games. So she's a great story. Real quick, the Grizz at Denver tonight. It'll be the last game that they will play before the All-Star game. So who will see who will play. They obviously have struggled the last few games. They're starting slow-mo at center. That's all a great plan to keep getting stockpiling picks. That's what they'll do when they eventually trade away Ja or maybe get a frontliner. It's going to be kind of fun to see what Zach Kleiman does the next at least a year and a half, right? Because this team's not going to be so good next year either. It doesn't look like it. We'll see what he can do, although he made the point to say this was not going to be a 5-year rebuild. So we shall see. Late last night, we complained about the Grizzlies not playing their guys. Minutes restrictions. Ty Jerome wasn't there for the end of the game last game because I don't think they wanted to win the game. He's at 20 minutes and out he goes. Last night, the Lakers playing against Wemby in San Antonio. Wemby, by the way, had 40 points in like 26 minutes. He was unreal. But there was no Luka. There was no Austin Reeves. There was no LeBron James. Can you imagine you bought a ticket for that game? You spent $1,000 to sit near the floor, and you got Butkus? Nothing? That's just... There should be a responsibility for teams and their fans to play their players because you're paying a lot of money to see those guys. And if they don't play, that's tough. And that, by the way, for LeBron is the 18th missed game, which means for the first time, he's not eligible. 21 straight years of being awarded postseason, All-NBA, or whatever it may be, not eligible because he will have not played enough games. And then college basketball game, you know how you learn something every day if you really try, if you look out there and you grow that way. Last night I'm watching a great basketball game, Nebraska and Purdue. The Big Ten is fun to watch. There's so many good teams in that league. Well, look at the rankings and you know. Purdue is at Nebraska. Nebraska is, undefeated for much of the year to start. I think they were 19-20, best start they've ever had in their history. Fred Hoiberg has finally got this team together. He's the favorite son who's come back to resurrect the program, or really get a program, because they haven't had a good basketball team for as long as I'm living, just about. And they've got this team, and they're battling with Purdue. And we know Purdue was the number one team in the country earlier in the year. They're still in the top 15. They go to overtime. They had their chances. Purdue makes a big play. They're down, I think it's a point, and there's 4.2 to go. They draw up a play, so they called a timeout to draw up the play. Everybody gathers. If you're looking at the TV and you're at midcourt, on the left, on the far side, that's where Nebraska is drawing up their play. On the right, on the far side, that is where Purdue is thinking about how they're going to defend. So Matt Painter's got all his guys. They're standing along the sideline like they do. Perspiration is dropping everywhere. So they inbound the ball, if you're looking again, center court, to the right by the bench. They run a play, and the inbound comes right in front of the Purdue bench. And the guy gets the ball. His feet slip out from under him. The ball comes out. Game over. They never got to run the play. The guy slipped on the perspiration. So what I learned, if I were a coach, what I learned is after timeouts, late in games, you got to make sure managers get down there and sweep up the perspiration. That was tough. Tigers on their way for a 2-game swing. We're not coming back until Sunday morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning. North Texas and Utah State. Make no mistake about it, the North Texas game is the important game. Because all we're talking about, and we'll be talking about it on the roundtable, what we're talking about is you got to win your conference tournament to go. How do you win your conference tournament? Get the triple bye. Be one of the top 2 teams. The game with Utah State, that's a tough place to play. They've lost 1 game this year. That, oddly enough, was to Josh Pastner and UNLV, just like Memphis. They've beaten Tulane. I think they lost to USF. So they're a beatable team, but they're really good at home. And it doesn't really matter if Memphis wins or loses the game, but it is a barometer to see if this team has truly turned the corner. So this will be an interesting 2-game swing way out for Southwest and then Northwest. So that sets us up here in the Family Leisure Studios, back here after what a great day we had at Dinstall's. And by the way, Dinstall's, you better get there. Today's the day you can get your strawberries. You can pick them up. But here is what Becky Dinstall told us. If you're getting strawberries today, don't wait till V-Day to give your partner your special romantic interest. Don't wait to V-Day for that. That's Saturday. These are fresh strawberries. They will get bad. So if you're doing this for Saturday night, pick them up Friday or Saturday. Okay? And you can get it at all 5 locations. It's time to get your strawberries or your cashew crunch or your turtlettes. Okay? You got 5 locations. Germantown, Collierville, where we were, where they make it, Pleasant View, my neck of the woods, Laurelwood, or even downtown. They got you covered with Dinstall's, and they got you covered for Valentine's Day, which is Saturday. I mentioned we're here in the Family Leisure Studios where the floor model sale is continuing. I-40 and Whidden Road, they really literally have deep discounts on over 100 display models and in-stock hot tubs, swim spas, cold plunges. If you see it set up, you can get an unbelievable discount. They're moving it out to move the spring stuff in, so take advantage. Head on over and see our friends at Family Leisure. You know what Wednesday at this time means. It's a new time.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
Good morning.
Good to see you, Dave. My wife and I don't usually celebrate Valentine's Day because we met on February 22nd. So we celebrate that anniversary as sort of our Valentine's Day. So I might get chocolate-covered strawberries next week.
They'll be there.
Because my wife and I will be together 41 years.
Wow.
On the 22nd.
So you celebrate the 22nd when you met, not when
we celebrate 2 anniversaries.
You got married? Okay.
We celebrate February 22nd is when we met. June 22nd is when we got married. This year, it'll be our 40th wedding anniversary in June. Very excited about that. We're going to New York. It's going to be great. The NBA tried to get players to play.
Yeah. That's
why you're required to play 65 games if you're going to be eligible for postseason awards. But it's not working, I guess, because I don't know. I don't know. It should work because these guys should want to be named All NBA. I mean, LeBron has been named All NBA since I was his age. I was 41 21 years ago, and he's been All NBA for 21 straight years, and I guess it's just not enough of an incentive anymore for him to play 65 games.
Well, he's 41. That's one, and two. He had a legitimate injury to begin with.
Yeah.
I guess he could have tried to go the rest of the way, but at that point, let's be honest. You're 41. The back-to-backers, those are tough on your legs. You're not going to be...
Well, he's effectively said that every single back-to-back, he's questionable for the second game.
Well, he should be.
Yeah, he's already said that.
Because think about it. You want to win the game, right?
Yeah.
When he's healthy and rested, he's still a major factor. But if you're fatigued and you can't jump, you're a detriment to the team. I mean, I don't have a problem with him at 41. I got a problem with Ja.
Sure.
What are you going to do with him the rest of the year? You're going to sit him the rest of the year because you really don't want to play the guy because he's not in your future plans and you couldn't trade him? Or what do you do?
I think they want to play him so that they can increase his trade value. I think they want...
That makes sense to me.
They want Ja to play, and they want Ja to play well. If they put Ja in and he just starts walking through it, they're not going to play.
Do they really want him to play well?
I think they do.
Do they really want to win games?
That's an open question, but I think they just want to increase the value for Ja. Anyway, Wembanyama, like you said, 37 points in the first half of that ball game. He only scored 3 points in the second half. But he was kind of ticked off about it. He's like, I wanted to be in there. I wanted to be in scoring points because I obviously was not having trouble scoring on the Lakers. But I understand that the team would rather I not get hurt and figure that the game was in hand. They knew they were going to win, so there was no point in having him out there. But he wanted to be out there. He wanted to. He could have scored 70 points last night. I got to say this. I was really surprised. I may have sent you a text about this. I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl.
We're going to talk Bad Bunny ratings. With Joe Dank in the next segment.
I genuinely enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was really, really well done. I didn't understand a word. I don't speak Spanish, but I understood what was transpiring.
So this question came from, I got to give Joe Dank credit for, because I really didn't think about it, but it sure makes a lot of sense, and I don't know why NBC didn't do this. Why didn't they subtitle it?
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't even thought about it. But, they, again, as we've talked about, and we talked about it like last year with Kendrick Lamar, I didn't really understand what was going on with that show last year because with the masks and all the other stuff. I mean, it was obviously art, but it was over my head. I just didn't know what was going on. With Bad Bunny, I knew what was going on. So people were getting married. It was neat.
Right.
Lots of big stars were out there. People were dressed as trees. There are going to be people who are going to walk around for the rest of their lives, and they've got that. They can always say, you know what?
I was a tree in the Super Bowl.
I was sugarcane in the Super Bowl. I was sugarcane number 53 in the Super Bowl. They've got that to say for the rest of their lives, and it was a lot of fun to watch. It was so alienating to so many people that Bad Bunny has the top 6 slots on Spotify. He's the biggest artist in the world right now. It did exactly what it was supposed to do because, again...
Well, it did $128 million. You know what the alternative Kid Rock deal did?
-7?
No, it was $5 million. 128 to 5.
Brett Favre said that he wasn't going to watch Bad Bunny because he wasn't familiar with Bad Bunny's work, and he didn't know if it was good or bad. So instead... he was going to watch Kid Rock because he knows Kid Rock's going to suck because he did. And he couldn't even lip sync his own songs.
Well, then he said that he didn't lip sync.
Which is obviously a lie. Anybody who saw 10 seconds of it, and I saw clips, I didn't watch it. I was watching Bad Bunny, and I was enjoying it. I was enjoying it, honestly, more than I enjoyed the Super Bowl, which was as dull a Super Bowl as you're ever going to see. It was so... I was watching with my wife and our friend Jeff, and the game started. I said, what do you think, Seahawks by 10? Yeah. And we barely paid any attention to the game for the rest of the game. It was just all field goals, and you were like, watching the game...
good defense.
Because that's why you watch the Super Bowl, for good defense.
I don't have a problem with a good defensive matchup. My favorite Super Bowl was the 85 season.
Well, yeah. But there was a lot of exciting offense on that Bears team. I mean, you had Walter Payton, you had Willie Gall, you had
good guys. Jim McMahon was a character, but you had the greatest defense of all time.
Of course, but it also had good offense. There was really good offense. They didn't, that wasn't a low-scoring Super Bowl. The Bears kicked the crap out of the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and they knew, and everybody knew for 10 months it was going to happen.
Well, everybody complained. It seems like, I would say 2 out of 3 Super Bowls never live up to the deal. 1 out of 3 do.
Well, this one didn't. This one just was boring as could be. It was a 10-year low on betting on the Super Bowl.
That was pretty established that Seattle was the better team.
Absolutely, everybody knew it, and it was so dumb. The Seahawks said yesterday that they had a tell on the Patriots. They had figured out something on the Patriots. They'd figured out a tell. They'd figured out what they tended to do in certain situations. That's not a tell. That's coaching. A tell is if somebody flinches in a certain way before
something. That's called scouting.
They just did their job. They just outcoached the Patriots. And we all knew that Drake May was likely to wither under that kind of stress. He's 23 years old. He's a kid.
And he did have a shot-up shoulder.
He did have a shoulder problem. Yeah. I'll tell you who you got to feel for is Vikings fans. You got to feel for, because, I mean, for God's sake, Darnold took them to 14 wins last year, and they flushed him for J.J. McCarthy, and he goes to Seattle and wins the Super Bowl. So they just look like idiots.
But you really feel good for Sam Darnold.
Oh, yeah, I feel great for him. But I mean, even J.J. McCarthy was like, yeah, the Vikings would have been better this year if Darnold had been the quarterback and not me. So I felt sorry for them. I'm happy as can be for Ken Walker. They gave him the MVP because, well, they had to give it to somebody. They weren't going to give it to the kicker. So,
well, they could have given it to the cornerback, Witherspoon.
Theoretically.
I mean, I thought it was between him and Kenneth Walker, and I was pulling for Kenneth Walker for one reason.
He's a local.
He's from Arlington.
Yeah, absolutely. The losing team, as you know, but a lot of people don't know, the losing team in the Super Bowl also gets Super Bowl rings.
I know.
They do. They get a ring. Yeah, a former Eagle said that it was the equivalent of getting a consolation prize he has to pay taxes on.
It's a participation trophy.
It's a participation trophy that you have to pay taxes on.
Right.
Speaking of taxes, Sam Darnold is going to be hit with the California jock tax, $250,000. He only made, $178,000 for playing the Super Bowl, for winning the Super Bowl. He made $178,000, but he's going to be hit with almost $250,000 in taxes.
Why?
Because California taxes you on your annual salary, not on what you make for that one game check. So Darnold's getting creamed with a huge tax burden for winning the Super Bowl. Boomer Esiason is calling for a California boycott. He's saying, let's say, well, okay, if you're gonna charge that much in taxes for us to play in the Super Bowl, we're just not going to play them in California anymore.
That's a valid argument. You know what? If you want to pay, if you're going to be forced to pay a small state tax for playing in the state like normally you do, that's fair. But
this is
come
criminal.
on.
I mean, this is punitive.
This is where you would take the IRS and challenge on it.
I want to get some of this stuff in. Australian short track speed skater Brendan Corey is competing in the Olympics despite the fact that last year at the World Championships in Beijing, he got his throat cut by an opposing player, a skater's skate.
Oh, God.
Yep. But it wasn't. I don't know if you can say this. It wasn't a bad throat cut. As throat cuts go, it wasn't that bad.
Well, he lived.
He got a crushed larynx and a cut, but he didn't cut any of the big veins.
Right.
So he did. But that's one of the things that I love about the Winter Olympics is, unlike the Summer Olympics, the Winter Olympics, people could die.
Well,
I watched the Winter Olympics for the crashes.
The short track relays. All those people on that short track with those sharp
knives on their feet.
I mean, that is bizarre. And the downhill, my God.
People could die.
Well,
I mean, now the thing about the Winter Olympics is it's mostly gravity. I mean, a lot of the time, it's not really so much athletic prowess as it just not dying. If you could just get to the bottom of the hill faster than everybody else and not die, you're going to win. But you could. I mean, in the Summer Olympics, really, it's very unlikely anybody's going to die. Maybe a pole vaulter could impale himself. Maybe a fan could catch an errant javelin. But it's unlikely. But in the Winter Olympics, almost every event, you think, wow, something went wrong. They could die. Again, I'm watching it live because I've been watching a lot of Winter Olympics. Norwegian biathlete.
I knew this was coming. There was never any doubt that this was going to be a closer.
Well, there's two reasons. One, because it's an unpronounceable name, which for some reason I always have to pick the story that has an unpronounceable name. Norwegian biathlete Sturla Holm Leingrid won a bronze medal, and his post-race press conference felt compelled to confess that he cheated on his girlfriend.
Well, he felt bad because he lost her, and he was proclaiming to the world his love and wanted her back. And she wisely said,
yeah, I'm going to take a pass
buddy,
on that.
Thank you. And I don't appreciate you told the world about this.
And plus, you only took the bronze. So really, you're not worth bothering.
If I won the gold, I might have come back.
I might have considered it if you'd won the gold and it held together.
And that is Dennis on Dave. Thank you. We appreciate it. We'll see you right back here.
Always a pleasure.
Next week. We got to take a break. When we come back, it's the business of sports with the man, Joe Denk, former GM of 24 and 30, and a producer and director of many a TV broadcast. He's got the latest on the Super Bowl ratings, the halftime show, a whole bunch of stuff, including NCAA eligibility. I don't know if you saw this. I'm shocked Dennis did not bring this up. There is a guy who has been granted eligibility for a 9th year. You heard me. A 9th year. Oh, you know who's got to be really celebrating this? Chambliss. Trinity Chambliss has got to be thinking, if he gets 9, I got to get my 6th, right? We're back in a minute with Joe right here on Wolo and Friends.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporting luxury. Test drive one at Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. No subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Terms apply.
Meet Albert, your personal financial assistant, an app that manages your finances. Albert analyzes your income, bills, and cash flow to create custom budgets, help you manage spending, and even find savings automatically in the background. Plus, when you need cash, you can get up to $10,000 fast. Yes, you heard that right. $10,000 for unexpected expenses, debt consolidation, travel, whatever you need. Just download the Albert app. And get this. Have a question about your finances? Ask Genius anything. Albert's AI assistant. Members are saving hundreds of dollars within months of joining Albert, the personal finance app that does it for you. Don't wait.
Download Albert and use promo code VALUE for your 30-day trial and borrow up to $10,000. That's promo code VALUE. Use promo code VALUE to borrow up to $10,000 with the Albert app.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Hey, make some man take things over. Hey, let him loose, hard to swallow. Hey, put you there where things are hollow.
Welcome back in. Time for the business of sports. That's with Joe Dank. He's brought to you by Sheldon. Did you ever wonder where your doctor, where he goes or she goes when they get sick, or where does your dentist go when they have a toothache? Well, Sheldon Rosengarten with Mike Spensdorf Realtors. He knows over the years he's been honored when former agents contact him when they or their former clients need help to sell their home or to even buy one. Having a good reputation in the real estate business, that's what it's all about. He's developed that incredible, very successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and how long it takes you to get to that closing table. So from your first meeting with Sheldon all the way to the end, at that closing table, he's by your side 24/7 to answer questions and guide you down the path to a successful transaction. That's why people say when you want the job done, you call Sheldon, Mark Spensdorf. Call or email him. Simple, 483-0546, or it says it all in the name, MemphisRelocate.com. Do what the other professionals have done. They call or email Sheldon Rosengarten, MemphisRelocate.com, or 483-0546. Good morning, Joe Dank. The numbers are in. 125 million, just under. 124.9 watched on Super Bowl Sunday. Not a record. That's 122 points or 127.7, but nonetheless up in the top five.
Well, it is top five. In fact, it's it's the second most watched Super Bowl, and even the second most watched Super Bowl remains the second most watched television show in history. So it's interesting. Everybody says, well, it didn't set a record, it didn't do this, and all of that. It was down 6% from last year. I think largely explained by two things. The teams, Seattle is not a traditional team that's going to draw a big number. And then more importantly, I thought the game was, in fact, a dud. And so I think that that influenced it. Here's two things as a takeaway that I always find interesting. And you know, we now always report these numbers on a national level in terms of millions of viewers. And sometimes, you know, without the previous year, those don't mean anything. In this particular case, I was able to find the rating and share information for the game, okay? Now, the ratings is simply the percentage of TV households in America, right?
Right.
So the game did a the game did a 39.4 rating. Okay?
So that is the percentage of households that have TVs, not necessarily on, but have TVs
Just total
that are
TV
watching.
sets in
so
America.
A third of America was watching the game.
Well, a little bit more than that, but what it does mean is just under 40%. I mean, that's less than half of the TVs watch the game. Less than the half of the TV households in America watch the Super Bowl. Now, we always have these assumptions, especially guys in sports, everybody watches.
Yeah.
Here's even more interesting, the share.
Yes.
Because now the share is percentage of TVs that were on.
Correct. So
okay?
if you watch TV, all the TVs that are watching at that time, what's that percentage that were watching the Super Bowl?
So the share was 79.
Wow.
That sounds like a big share. It is a big share relative to everything else. Yet what it does mean is 21%, or another way of looking at it, 1 in every 5 TV households that was watching TV watched something else.
I'll take 4 out of 5 every time if I'm an advertiser wanting to send a message.
I get it, but relative to expectations, relative to the whole world stops to watch this game, 1 in 5 households did not.
Well, name any event in history that does better than 4 out of 5. Is there?
Well,
other than a big news event like an assassination?
We're evaluating this in the context of the Super Bowl. Okay. The number 1 show in the history of TV. It's still just interesting to me that 1 in 5 didn't even put it on. They watched something else, which they made a conscious decision, not only not to watch this game, but to watch something else because their TV was on. That's all. The only point on share.
All right. My next question for you is, where does that 79 share rank? Is that amongst the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is an 80 share
perennial.
environment. It's an 80 share environment.
So basically, 20% of America really doesn't care at all about the football game. 20%. If you got 80%, if I'm a business and I got 80% of the interest, I'm a really happy guy.
And so would Roger Goodell be.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think he's a happy guy too.
No doubt about it. What about the halftime show? That's Bad Bunny, who has gotten nice social media reviews, and it was a busy show. It had the surprise guest with Lady Gaga and Ricky Martin. There may have been more, but I know those 2 names. Versus Kid Rock, there was the Turning Point. This is a political thing, folks. Turning Point, I guess, was offended because this was going to be a show in Spanish, and therefore they had an alternative which drew 5 million. 128 million, I think, is where Bad Bunny peaked.
That's right.
5 million on YouTube for Kid Rock. That does not seem to me to be any kind of contest.
Well, yeah, there's no question about that, and I don't think anybody thought there would be much of a contest on this. It's just look, this is simply, I think, indicative of the time we live in, that there's a subject on the table that we're able to discuss today. Frankly, I don't think it is worth the time to discuss.
No,
I just don't.
Well, and I think that the showing by the Kid Rock show tells you there's really nothing to discuss. All right, so let's go to college eligibility. You and I have been back and forth on several stories with this. There's the Charles Bediako story where they used an Alabama court to get him to play. Then another Alabama judge overturned that. Bediako played 5 games. He can't play anymore, at least for the moment. We've got Amari Bailey, who played 10 NBA games trying to get eligibility. He was a UCLA player, got drafted, played 10 games, failed, wants to go play for Grand Canyon. And then you got this story today. A guy named Solomon Tui Apapupu. He is a linebacker who originally played at USC. He is 26 years old. He has been around college football in some form, missing years because of foot injury, knee injury, and other illnesses. Last year, his 8th year in the game, he played what would be his 2nd full season to play at Montana. He is trying to get a 9th year. Well, no, he's not trying. He was granted a 9th year at age 26 to play for Montana next year. All 3 cases are a little bit different, all 3 bizarre. A 9th year? That seems crazy. Give me your sense of it all.
Well, I think all 3 cases are remarkably different, especially 2 of them. Look, weird things like the Montana thing have happened. This kid has only played in games during 3 college football seasons. He has been completely out with injuries during his time at USC. He did play one season where he played in every game at USC. He played a partial season at USC, and he played last year for Montana. So he's only played in 3 seasons. He, unlike the other stories, simply appealed to the NCAA, the ruling body of college sports, and asked for a waiver of the existing rule to grant him a year. And they granted him that. That's fine.
Okay.
That is a lot different of people who participated in NCAA basketball, knew the rules, left with eligibility remaining, and entered the NBA draft, knowing that the rule in the NCAA is when you enter the draft, you in essence personally and consciously forfeit any remaining eligibility.
You declare to be a pro.
But you forfeit. But the effect of that, David,
in the case of Bediako, he didn't get drafted.
Doesn't matter. He stayed in the draft, knowing by staying in the draft past that deadline, a published rule that is not any kind of gray area. It's as black and white as anything.
Okay.
He knew when he stayed in the draft that he forfeited his remaining eligibility in the NCAA.
I'm with you there. I get that. I don't even see how Amari Bailey, who was drafted, who played in 10 NBA games, has any case to try to get back and play college basketball. Here's the question I got for you. It's that same body, the NCAA. That is the schools, but they have this committee that declares eligibility. They've declared Tuiapupupu he's eligible for a 9th year. Okay.
No, David. He's eligible to play football for 4 years.
Okay.
He's only played 3.
I always thought the rule was you have 5 years to play 4, but we can
unless you ask for a waiver of the ruling body.
Okay.
Why are you bothered by this kid playing college football?
I'm not bothered at all. But I'm bothered by the inconsistencies. Because let's go. I'll tell you. What's the difference between this guy who missed all those years because of injury or illness and Trinity Chambliss, who didn't get to play one of those years at Division II, and they've said, no, you cannot play. And what is he looking for? It's a 6th year, right? He had 5 years. He didn't get all 4 in. He's just asking for his 4th year. They say no to him, yes to the guy who's playing at Montana. That's my problem. It's the inconsistency within that committee using the same guidelines and rules.
It would appear that there is some inconsistency, but there are nuances in each of these cases. The primary distinction here, and the one that I am particularly interested in, is seeking a remedy to an NCAA decision that is outside the NCAA. The courts should not be involved in this. They should not have standing. The NCAA has to have the opportunity to run its sports and make its decisions. If you don't like the decision by the NCAA, you file an appeal with the NCAA. You don't seek remedy in court. Well, there are many things in life that people want to be part of. And you just can't go to work for a company. The company who owns has to hire you. Anything has eligibility. You just can't walk into a class on a college campus without becoming an eligible student and qualifying as a student and registering. There are simple things. Now, in the case of the kid from Montana, they granted him a year. In the case of the quarterback from Mississippi, they have said no. We don't know the level of granular details that are involved in those 2 cases. In either case, these are completely different than guys who knowingly forfeited their eligibility to play NCAA basketball and seeking injunctive relief through the courts to get back in. And the worst case in all of these, to me, is the fact that a team and a school would take somebody who is ineligible
Nate Oates.
by NCAA rules and play the kid.
Yeah. No.
This is no different than. Listen, Memphis paid a price when they played
James
an ineligible player
Absolutely.
on James Weissman. And so the question to me, the more important question in all of this is what price is Alabama going to pay for playing somebody who is ineligible in 5 games?
We'll see. Even the commissioner of the SEC has come up against the Bediako case.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, well, it's the first time I've seen him take an active position on any of that. He didn't say when Nate Oates started playing Bediako, he didn't say anything until after the fact. But at least he's made his comments known publicly. Now I give him that. Here's my sense of it: if you declare to be a pro, even though as a college player you're a pro now, because you're allowed to get money. You're revenue sharing. You're a pro. But if you declare to leave college to be a professional in some form of other professional league, you should lose your eligibility when you make that decision. Nobody told Amari Bailey he should leave to go play in the NBA.
Listen, it's more simple than that. If you are no longer eligible under the rules of the organization, I don't care what the endeavor is. If you're no longer eligible, then you can't play.
Yeah,
this isn't complicated to me.
Last thing before we've already run out of time, but I got to touch on it because it's time sensitive, and that is the Olympics. 42 million watched after the Super Bowl. The opening ceremonies, I think, were as high as they've ever been. Good start for NBC.
It's a good start for NBC. Obviously, the Sunday night number is driven by the lead-in of the Super Bowl. Okay, so you still had 40 million out of the 124 that stuck around. That does mean 80 million went somewhere else. But the interesting point was that the opening ceremonies on Friday did 21.4 million. That was up 34% over 2022. And Saturday afternoon, this is an amazing number to me. Saturday afternoon, just the first day of competition,
right?
28.5 million viewers across the NBC platforms. That was up, David, 92% over 2022. So big numbers for NBC early on, and you know, there's a lot of compelling stories. And they produced the heck out of this stuff. It's good stuff.
And a tip of the cap to Mike Tirico, who did a Super Bowl, went down on the field, did Olympic coverage from the field of the Super Bowl, got in an airplane, went to Italy, and was working the next day. I mean, to me, that's unbelievable.
It's interesting. Look,
people don't know how hard that is.
Tirico made it look easy. He's got talent. He's a great broadcaster.
No doubt about it. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. We take a break. When we come back, we go to Tulsa. We go to New Orleans. We've got basketball tonight in the American. We got the roundtable. We'll talk about eligibility with them, too, in just a minute right here on Wolo and Friends.
Did you miss your favorite Sports 56 show? No! Check out the podcast, broken down hourly at sports56whbq.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe. Never miss any Sports 56 show again with our podcasts available daily from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This Valentine's Day, skip the expected and give something that truly lasts. Time to slow down, recharge, and feel cared for. A Gold Salon Spa gift card is effortless, thoughtful, and always the right choice. Opening the door to calm moments, confidence-boosting care, and everyday luxury that goes well beyond February 14th. Because the most meaningful gifts aren't things. They're how you make someone feel. Gould's gift cards are available online or in store. Gould's, a legacy of style, care, and community since 1932.
Hey y'all, it's the Mid-South Sports and Boat Show, February 20th through the 22nd at the Agri Center. Come buy your new boat and make some memories at the lake this summer with family and friends. Premier dealers showcasing the newest ski boats, pontoons, fishing boats with huge show specials. Enter your chance to win daily door prizes. It's all at the Mid-South Sports and Boat Show, February 20th through the 22nd. For more info, go to memphisboatshow.com. That's memphisboatshow.com.
At the Agri Center. Running a commercial plumbing or HVAC company isn't easy. You're driving revenue, managing payroll, coordinating marketing, juggling projects, and keeping customers satisfied all at once. You need software that keeps up. It's time to upgrade to Service Titan, the all-in-one solution built to help companies like yours run smarter, grow faster, and scale with confidence. See how the most successful contractors are doing it today with Service Titan. Visit servicetitan.com to learn more. That's servicetitan.com.
Hi, fellas. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I hope that you're aware that Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and you can't be dawdling along waiting till the last minute to find her something wonderful that will make her happy. At Russell Brothers, we've been specializing in happy for 5 decades now, helping men show their ladies how very much they care. And you know, taking good care of your favorite girl is what Valentine's Day is all about. Come visit us at Russell Brothers, see the breathtaking jewelry, and know that you're going to walk out the door with a gift she'll be proud of, and you'll also find out what makes Russell Brothers Jewelers so special. So come look at our quality, see our value and beauty, and experience our service. Come visit us at Russell Brothers Jewelers. Let us help you put happy on her face on February the 14th. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins. We'd love to help you find the jewelry that she wants.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Time for the American Roundtable. We got plenty of games we can talk about this crazy league. Who's the best team? We got Bruce Howard didn't give us his awards from last week. Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, Coach of the Year. We get to that in just a second. But let's start with this. Corey Glore from Tulane joins us, and Bruce Howard from Tulsa. And I want to start with this. The crazy cases that are going on in terms of eligibility with NCAA athletics. In football this morning or last night, there was a former USC player who's 26 years old, a linebacker, named Solomon Tuiapupu. He has been granted by the NCAA a 9th year to play. He's only really played 2 full years. He has had knee injury, foot injury, illness, missed a bunch of years. He played a little bit, or played with Montana last year. That was just really his 2nd year of total playing. The NCAA granted him a waiver. He's going to get to play a 9th year. Trinity Chambliss, Ole Miss, wanting a 6th year. He's only played 3 years, not granted that. You got Charles Bediako, who was not drafted by the NBA, wanted to come back, was denied, went to a court, got eligibility, and now that's been overturned. They played him 5 games. Will there be ramifications on Alabama? Now you got this kid whose name is Amari Bailey. He is a guy from UCLA who was drafted in the 2nd round, played 10 NBA games, and is trying to get back eligibility to play at Grand Canyon. This is nuts. Give me your thought. We start with Corey Glore.
Good morning, fellas. And I think where I fall on this, I mean, it's ridiculous, and I think it just underlines in bold Sharpie just the lack of power that we knew the NCAA did not have. And now they're being called out on stuff like this. People are finding loopholes in the professional basketball clause that exists in college basketball that's meant for players overseas, and now players are finding ways to circumvent those if they were in G League and whatnot. I think it also leads to the fact that the money that players can make in college basketball, high levels of college basketball, can be pretty dang good and maybe better than what they could be making playing pro ball in C League and overseas. And so I think that leads to part of this as well. Trinidad Chambliss, he got denied there, but he probably would have made more money at Ole Miss based on what his draft stock looks like heading into this year. And so I think that's not be-all, end-all, but that's definitely a part of what we're seeing now.
Well, with Trinity Chambliss, we should point out he's been denied, but he's going to do what Bediako did, and that's go to a state court to try to have that overturned, which is the frustration of the NCAA. It's the simple question here is, how can a school who's part of an association, how can a conference who's part of the association allow that to happen? You lost and so you have to accept the settlement, or you have no rules that could ever be withheld. Bruce Howard?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously very crazy. And, I think they're probably having a party in Indianapolis because it's the first court case the NCAA has won out of, the last 50? So they actually won a court case, I mean, they ought to be celebrating at this point. But, I mean, and I think you guys know this, that, there are a lot of overseas guys that have played pro ball in semi-pro or pro ball overseas that are clearly eligible and have been playing in NCAA games. And I don't know if that's part of the loophole as well, but these last couple of cases border on ridiculousness. And then you can go back to all of these cases of guys now that want to opt out of their quote contract, the Mensah case at Duke. It's madness, at this point. I don't know if the genie gets put in the back in the bottle at all or not, but it's crazy.
I don't think you can. I think the toothpaste is out of the tube. Here's my sense of it. You got to make guidelines that are going to be applicable to the times. It seems to me that if you declare to be a pro, and in all honesty, let's face it, if you're a college player now, you're a pro. I mean, you got guys making 3-4. The kid topping at Texas Tech is getting $4 million to play. If he's not a two-way player and he plays in the G League, he's going to get 1/10 of that, $40,000. This is $4 million this kid is making this year to play college basketball. But if you decide that you are ready to play in any pro league, and this should, in my opinion, include Europe, if you make the decision that you are a professional player, that you're trying to join a league that is known as professional, then that's it. You've given up your college eligibility. No turning back. That's the rule that should be in place, in my estimation. Corey?
Yeah, I think what gets hazy there, and it's happened a bunch here in basketball, but it was once you declared for the NBA draft, that was it. You were done. But with 2 rounds of the NBA draft, and you look at the comparable sports around, the college landscape, and more opportunities to go pro in a football, in a baseball, in a hockey, that's where there was a lot of pushback because you would have so many people declare for the NBA draft, and you have only 60 that get selected. And so that's where the rub started coming in. But now you're seeing people really exploit what these rules were put in place to try and prohibit from happening, and that's the problem here.
If you think you're going to make more in college, then stay in college. That's really simple, in my estimation. Okay, Bruce, we picked our coaches, players, freshman of the year last year. You did not get your take. I think we all agreed that, or Corey and I all, the two of us agreed that Eric Conkle was probably the coach of the year. You going to disagree?
No, I'm not going to disagree with that. There'd be a close second, though, for Aaron Fern of Charlotte. I mean, they were picked last, right? They were picked 13th, and they've had a heck of a year, even though they lost recently. But, yeah, I think Eric Conkle's done a great job. And, it's one thing to get a lot of good players or a lot of, maybe a couple of great players and a bunch of role guys, but it's the second part to cobble them all together, and he's done a nice job, of that. So I would agree with that Conkle, at this point would be coach of the year. I don't know if that's the way it'll happen. We've got some games to play yet,
Who's your player of the year?
Player of the year would be Isaiah Nelson, wow. just because he's such
Both of you guys took Nelson. I'm the only guy that took your point guard, Riley. I'm ashamed of you, Bruce Howard.
Well, and unfortunately, Thailand didn't have the greatest week. I mean, this past week he didn't play especially well, but, Tulsa's just got those 3 guys that any time can dominate a game, and so it's not the other guy you'd think of is Riley Jordan of ECU, averaging 23, but they're 2-8 in the league, so it's kind of hard to consider him.
Well, he's the league leader in he's the league leader in scoring, but if you're second to last, how can you be the player of the year?
Yeah, and I agree with that. But I think as far as an individual player is concerned, I think nobody changes the game like Isaiah Nelson does. And, we saw that the other day. They defeated Tulsa on Sunday. And then freshman of the year, probably Josiah Parker, but Jalen Lawala has been really good. And he's got the ability to explode. He's had a 25-point game. He's had a 20-point game. So, either of those guys, but probably Parker.
I would go with Parker. I think we all did. Isn't that right, Corey? You went that way, right?
Yeah, the way Parker's developed, and especially now, it seems as like FAU is moving forward without Kane and Carlisle for seems like the rest of the year with his knee injury. And so how he has molded is going to be vital if FAU is going to climb back up the ladder.
If he's out for the rest of the year, that really hurts FAU in the long run because he is quite a solid player all the way around. All right, so South Florida and Tulsa are tied for first. Hanging back is Temple, 3 losses, just a half a game back. And then you got Memphis, Charlotte, and Wichita State all at 7-4, literally 1 game behind. So the top 6 teams are within 1 game of each other. Who is going to win this league, Bruce Howard?
Well, I will say this. South Florida's schedule is very difficult down the stretch. They've got, I think they got Wichita State, they have Memphis, they have FAU. I mean, they've got a more difficult schedule, I think. Oh, well, they got Memphis twice.
They have Memphis
right?
twice. Yes, they do.
And not that you can't lose to anybody. I mean, Tulsa plays UAB tonight. UAB's 5-0 on the road in the league, which is wacky. But I think Tulsa's got a little softer schedule down the stretch. Honestly, I haven't watched a whole lot of Temple. I think they're really good and really tough. But Memphis is playing as good as they played recently, right? I mean, they've got a chance to make a run as well. I think
they've turned the corner, but I said that once before, and they landed flat on their backs to Corey Glor's team. So I don't know. And they got to play South Florida twice. They got to play Wichita once, but they get them at home.
And Charlotte, Charlotte, I think had a very soft schedule early. I mean, they played and beat up on some teams that are at the lower levels.
Corey, who's going to win it?
I will put my eggs in South Florida's basket right now just because of their sweep of Tulsa. To me, gives them a slight edge at the moment, but I'm going to throw the Temple Owls into the ring here. They are so good at winning these close games, and we're about to see them later on tonight. They have 3-4 guards that I think compile them together. They're as good as a guard group that you have in this league. And suddenly they have their best record in about 8 years here, Temple Owls. So I would say keep an eye on Temple as we move in the last month of the year.
I would have to go, honestly, with South Florida at this point. Memphis has their fate in their own hands. They're going to play them twice. They get a chance at Wichita again because they get them at home, and I think that's a gettable game. They got to go to New Orleans to play you guys, a team they've already lost to once. So I've got to lean with South Florida. I think Tulsa's in a great spot. It all comes down to the 1 or 2. If you can get 1 or 2, you're in pretty good shape because you only got to win 2 games to win the tournament. We'll discuss more about this next week. Guys, have good games tonight.
Thank you, fellas.
See you guys.
Thank you. That's Bruce Howard from Tulsa. That's Corey Glor. He is obviously from the Tulane Green Wave, and they all come to you on this round table thanks to Southern Security. Are you getting the best rate on your mortgage? You can at Southern Security. You know why? They're not for profit. They are absolutely able to do things that other banks cannot. They can give you the best rates, flexible terms, no PMI, the best service. They've got technology beyond compare. Go see their beautiful new branch in Collierville. It's the latest, it's the greatest, and you can get all kinds of opportunities to refinance your mortgage just by going to southernsecurity.org or calling the office and talking to a human being at 452-7900. Southern Security is an equal housing leader, federally insured by NCUA. Southern Security, your home team credit union. That'll do it for me. I'll talk to you from Denton, Texas tomorrow. The usual lineup right then and there. Johnny Radio, he's right around the corner, so keep it here and have a great day, everyone.